Hey, this is Matt once again with about to another video, and this is a paid request for Devon. Thank you so much for that. For those interested requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, tier list, ranking, movie review, re-review, thought streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can, and for those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. So, a toast to Monty. But, yeah, Mr. Nice Guy is the film we're talking about today. Now, I saw this back in the day on, I want to say I did see this on VHS back in the day. And then on DVD. And it came out in 1997. And it's directed by Sammo Hung. Now, Sammo Hung, actor, there's been a lot of films back to the day, a lot of martial arts films, films with Jackie Chan, films of his own, like Enter the Fat Dragon, which was like a comedic take on a Bruceploitation film. Actually, over here, I have the TV show Martial Law that lasted, sadly, only a couple seasons. Even had a crossover with Walker, Texas Ranger at one point, but still a show that I did quite like. Eastern Condors is probably my favorite that he ever starred in. I think he directed that. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, kind of his version of the Dirty Dozen. Eastern Condors, very good movie. Yeah, I don't remember if he... I know he starred it, but I don't remember if he directed it or not. But anyway, he directed this. Now, at this time, he wasn't starring in as many movies. So this is kind of him trying to get back on the horse, at least as a director. And, of course, let's work with Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan, at this point, had just found even more success, especially with the U.S. market, because Rumble in the Bronx had come out in 1995 by New Line Cinema, who released this. And Rumble in the Bronx, a little bit of a history of me and Jackie Chan. That was the first one I saw of Jackie Chan. I did not know who he was. His films were just not on the shelves when I rented movies on VHS where I lived. Hell, didn't even have the internet until probably 2000. So way before that. People at school did not talk about movies unless it was a new Adam Sandler film. So there's just no way for me to know about Jackie Chan and the stuff he did in the 80s and Police Story and all that jazz. Until on ABC there was a news program about this upcoming film called Rumble in the Bronx, and this guy named Jackie Chan meet the real last action hero. And the guy that does all of his own stunts. I'm like, what? That just floored me. It just mesmerized me. A guy that did his own stunts. And Rumble in the Bronx, I got the VHS tape, watched it, really enjoyed it. Yeah, I know it's the Bronx, but there's mountains in the background in certain shots. Yes, it's a pretty simple story. God comes to town, help at this store, the supermarket, and he gets in trouble with some gangs. It's not the most unique story, but it gives you your Jackie Chan charm, his charisma, and the way he's able to utilize an environment to his advantage and creativity. How to use it for weapons, how to use it to get in and out of situations. And that was the fun of it, of him being able to use these props or these environments, and then them being a charm and comedic side because of him. Incorporating comedy into the martial arts. As well as a lot of the death-defying stunts. One of the bits in Rumble in the Bronx that floored me was when there's a truck coming, and he goes to the side, and it's like right by him, and he's like this close to the... He's like right at the wall here, the truck's going by him. I'm like, ooh, shit. And Rumble in the Bronx did very well at the box office in the U.S. It introduced a lot of people like me to Jackie Chan. And the studio saw that and said, we need to get more Jackie Chan films into the US market. And it seemed like the most that did it was New Line Cinema and Dimension Films. Because between the two of them, you had, I think Dimension Films had Super Cop and Jackie Chan's First Strike and Operation Condor. While New Line Cinema had Rumble in the Bronx, had this movie, and then eventually Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2. So, I mean, it was those two studios. I'm sure there's others, but at that time, it was between those two. And, like I said, New Line Cinema, who had worked with Jackie Chan, at times is taking a film from Hong. Like Rush Hour, they did on their own. But this, as well as Rumble in the Bronx, we take a film, we bring it over, they change the music, which is, because as I said, you can find two versions of this film. I think the Warner Archive Blu-ray, which I do have, it has both versions. Actually, don't quote me on that, because I'll be honest, I watched it online. I know that has the extended version. I don't know if that has the New Line Cinema US version. I don't know now. I have to recheck that, so don't quote me on that. But there are two versions of the film. There's the US New Line Cinema version. Like I said, the music is changed. Some characters are redubbed. Some violence is toned down to keep it more lighthearted. And it's about 8 to 10 minutes shorter. Well, I mean, is it that much? At least about 5, okay, I can't, like 7 minutes short. It's between that, like 5, 7, 10. I know there's a big difference, but it's shorter than the overseas version. Now, the New Line Cinema version you can find on YouTube. Someone uploaded it for free on YouTube. I'm sure if you look not too hard enough, you can find the other version. Now, which one do I prefer? I'm nostalgic to the New Line Cinema version because that's how I first saw it. That's how I saw this many times growing up. But if you watch the other version, at least some things are a little explained. Hell, in the... I don't keep calling the New Line Cinema version. There's a character that just outright disappears. The reporter chick. She just disappears. You're like, what the fuck happened to her? Well, because they cut... The last scene she had, they cut out. Why? I don't know. And I did... Like, some of the cuts, I did because... If they let some of the little bits of violence, they felt it would get an R rating. I still don't think it would be R rated. But I mean, with the censors at this time, maybe they would be pansies and rated R. But I mean, some of the stuff you didn't need to cut out. But yeah, I mean, Rumble in the Bronx, they edited down a bit. Operation Condor, I know they edited down. That was with Dimension. Like, each one, they changed the music, and they edited down to be as short as they can. Now, I know I'm like 9 minutes in, I haven't talked about the film. Just the film is very simple, very straightforward. It takes place in Australia. Jackie Chan is with this other guy, and they have this cooking TV show. Meanwhile, Richard Norton is a crime boss, and I like Richard Norton. Good martial artist. Worked with Jackie Chan before on City Hunter. He starred in this film that's a bit underrated called Under the Gun. That's a pretty decent one. And worked with Cynthia Rothrock on the China O'Brien films. Yeah, Richard Norton, guy I thought was a bit underutilized. He's your main villain. If you watch the original cut, the first scene is him killing this woman who he finds out is not really who she said she was. And he beats her up, throws her down, and then they bury her. But in the New Line Cinema, they start with the Jackie Chan bit to start off more on a light-hearted note. And then the death of the lady doesn't seem as vicious because it's shortened up a bit. In terms of some shots are lingering, like her in fear of being buried, and they shorten things out to try to erase the tension or whatever you want to call it. Also, it's interesting, if you watch the New Line Cinema version, they misspell Sammo's name. Directed by Sammo Hung, they spell Sammo with one M. It's like, it's Sammo, it's two M's, but they only spell with one. I'm like, how the hell do you mess that up? But, it is what it is. So Richard Norton, after finding this out, has a meeting with this gang called the Demons. Richard Norton goes, you have my cocaine, you want my money, let's do a deal. What, you want me to pay more money? A firefight happens. If you watch the original cut, you see a little bit more of the bullets, a little bit more of the squibs. But it's not like bloody John Woo. It's like little bits here and there. Like, you still don't see a lot, but I guess enough that someone got cold feet or something. While that's happening, this reporter, she's found out, her and her cameraman, they try to escape. Cameraman gets caught. She gets the footage, the videotape. She makes a run for it. While that's happening, Jackie Chan is just coming home with groceries. She accidentally runs into him. He's like, what's going on? And then they start fighting Jackie. Literally the guy at the wrong place at the wrong time. Just a regular guy with a cooking show. Only he doesn't know how to fight. And that's where I will say the movie, watch again, is a pretty fast-paced film. Now, again, I did watch the New Line Cinema version because that's the one I grew up with. I had not seen that version in a while. Because I think the last time I saw it was the longer version. And it's the fight scenes are well done. Jackie Chan, all the little things he's able to do. Like taking the girl and trying to be up top on the semi and his legs hitting the wall in order to stay there, to be hidden, and then he gets found out. When he's chased and he leads a guy to a trash can who falls into it and he baps his head with it, then hooks the trash can to a vehicle and the guy's driven out with it. Or he's chased into like this biker wedding where these bikers are getting married, and then he has to hook this balloon and bounce up and down. He falls to his wedding cake. People are chasing after him. The bikers attack those guys. And it's one of those movies that the plot is the most typical you could think of, but it doesn't go too long before another action or set piece happens. And if you want to see a good chunk of them with Jackie Chan doing what he does best, then this one I always had fun with, Mr. Nice Guy. I would probably put this in my top 10 favorites because I enjoy the set pieces, whether it be the construction site sequence, or even little bits at the mall, the carriage chase. There's fun stuff in there. And maybe because the plot's so simple, so it's just an easy watch that doesn't overcomplicate things and doesn't dial yourself down to 20 minutes of plot that, to be honest, no one's going to give a shit about. And there's little touches in there that I always thought was funny. Early on, he's being chased, and there's this guy who runs this ice cream place. And, hey, can I hide? Oh, sure, hide over here. So one of the bad guys goes, you see a Chinese guy? And the guy's like, yeah, me. No, you see another guy. Okay, he's there. And the guy's like, why you say something? I thought you guys were playing. And then after they run off, another bad guy comes up, and the Chinese ice cream's like, want some ice cream? And they just hit and knocked out. I don't know who that guy is. I swear he looks familiar, but I don't know who that guy is. But I swear he looks familiar. I'm going to try to see if I can find. I'm just going to type Mr. Nice Guy ice cream guy. Emil Chow. He's a famous Taiwanese pop singer. I don't know who he was in Rumble in the Bronx. Try to remember. But Emil Chow is his name. Okay. I don't remember which one he... I mean, if I see it again, Rumble in the Bronx, I'll be okay, I'll make the connection. But anyway, like, I thought that was a funny bit with the ice cream guy. There's a bit later on where, nice choreography where Jackie Chan's fighting people in the van and using the inside of the van, going over here, using the seat here, doing all this, and how you fight people in a cramped space like a van. That was a fun scene. But on the outside, there's a cyclist minding his own business, as played by Sammo Hung. And the bad guys keep like hitting him or punching him, and he falls off his bike. Then at the end of the chase, one of the bad guys, "Oh, police brutality. Yeah, go ahead, cop, hippie, hippie." But then Sammo Hung goes, "Don't mind if I do." And just beats the shit out of him. "And your mother, too," and baps him on the head. So he's able to get his comeback, give the guy some receipts. Like, that was a fun bit, fun cameo for Sammo Hung. I always thought that was really funny. I thought the girl that played the reporter, Gabrielle Fitzpatrick, I actually liked her. I liked her attitude. I liked her delivery. I thought she did fine. Something about her I liked. She was cute as well. That's why it was so weird, like, why she disappeared. But again, if you watch in the original because in this version, there's a bit where Jackie Chan's girlfriend who's arrived, some things happen and she gets kidnapped. They kidnap this other girl, but then the reporter, they just hit her and she flies off screen. You never see her again. But you find out, if you watch the original cut, she was picked up, she's at the hospital. This cop who Jackie knows says, "Are you going to be alright?" She's like, "Yeah, but remember, this is my exclusive," but says it with a smile. And the cop smiles at her. I'm okay, fine. At least you did some kind of finality with the character. Why you would cut that out, I have no idea. So whoever edited this definitely don't know their ass with two hands about storytelling. And I wish we could have seen more of her. I actually wish she could have carried through to the end of it. I would have preferred her than... Who's the girl? Like, the black girl. I can't remember... Like, Jackie knows her. Like, maybe it's a friend of the other guy who's part of the cooking show. See, I'm being hazy because she's just kind of there. Like, she tries to fight the reporter because she thinks the reporter's breaking in when all the reporter's trying to do is find her tape. But I'm like, why is she carried through to the end of the film? Why isn't the reporter? That would make sense. The reporter want to stick around for the story, maybe blame herself because she thinks this is her fault, that Jackie Chan's girlfriend's been kidnapped, so I'm going to see this through to the end. That's the character we start with near the beginning, who Jackie first meets, and they're together for a chunk of it. To just her just not being in the third act just made... I don't think that made sense. I thought it was a bad call. That's one nitpick I would have with the film. But again, I understand. The plot, to be fair, is kind of in the back seat of these type of Jackie Chan movies. Is more about the action, the stunts, what Jackie brings to the table. And for that, he does a great job with that. Whether he's doing a cookie show at the mall and the bad guys come after him and he has to fight them off, or slide down escalators, or use a chair as a weapon. Almost immediately after, him and his girlfriend get on this carriage, which is actually a longer action scene in the original cut. if you watch the original cut, there's a little bit more fighting, a little bit more bad guys he tosses off the carriage. There's one stunt where, in the New Line Cinema, there's a bit where a sign goes over this, and he's like, whew. But there's another bit where he does like this, and the sign, he has to do this, otherwise the sign would have hit him. I don't know why they would cut that bit, and why would you cut action from a Jackie Chan film at all? It's like Shanghai Noon. Early on the train, they cut the whole bit where Jackie Chan's trying to stop the train, but Can has to get off, and then the train explodes, which is in the trailer, but they cut that bit out. I don't know why. Why would you cut action out of a Jackie Chan film? It makes no sense to me. But then, whether it be the first meeting Jackie and the reporter had with each other, and Jackie dealing with the bad guys, like I mentioned before, the bit in the mall, the carriage, there's some nice stunts. There's a bit where a bus is passing by, and so he doesn't fall to the ground, he's got to do this to hold him steady, hitting the bus passing by the carriage so he doesn't fall. There's, again, the sign barely missing him. He pushes a bad guy, he falls into the sign and crashes, or tits a guy off and they fly into some tables. There's another bit where the guy escaped the apartment, and there's this great shot, wide shot, where because the Dane, the demons, and Richard Norton's men are fighting each other, and a big explosion happens, and there's this nice wide shot where I don't know if this is Jackie Chan. Maybe it is, because you don't see his face. Big explosion, and Jackie Chan, he's over here almost falling down. Like I said, the fight inside the van was fun. The construction site bit I thought was the best part of the movie. And that's another thing. I remember seeing trailers to this film back in the day. And the trailer always grabbed me, I think because it showed a lot of the best parts of the film. But also, it was to the tune of Third Eye Blind. Semi-charged kind of live. I want something else. A semi-charged kind of live. Do do. Like, it was a fun do 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 do. I thought that was such a fun, great song to use for the beats of the action and the excitement that really get you pumped up to see the movie. And I did watch the trailer again before I did this review, and it definitely brought a big sense of nostalgia back. Just that trailer is what led me to seeing the film in the first place. So that was, I thought they did a nice job with the trailer. That was again, good song choice. But the construction site, the reason it's my favorite is just, this really does utilize the location, or how the set they built, whatever the case would be. Like, there's multiple doors, and they're going through doors, and either the bad guys surprising themselves, or Jottie's behind one and punches one, or Jottie, it's a door to the outside, so he almost falls off, so he's got to get back in. Or just using all the things like saw blades, where a saw blade is going by his crotch, he's got to dip back so his crotch doesn't get cut into two. Or he's got to roll over and make it so that his stomach doesn't get caught by the saw. Or there's these rolls of, I forget what they are, but they try to trip him up and he slides down on it. Nice side shot, wide shot to show Jackie Chan sliding down. Nice job by Sammo Hung there. Jackie fighting the bad guys and put like one in a mixer and him rolling around in a circular pattern. Avoiding pallets and kicking pallets. Again, a great way of utilizing an environment of what Jackie can do, and it shows, again, fun and creativity as well as humor mixed in. Again, my favorite scene in the movie is that. Again, the idea plot-wise, They tried to get his girlfriend. He saves her. This is after the carriage bit. The cop buddy says you're safe. The demons kidnap the girl. We have this deal. Wait a minute, there's cops around. Jacky's like, you guys screwed up. I'm gonna do it myself. The Dane finds him, pull him into a van. He beats him up. That's where he gets Sammo Hung's cameo on the cyclist on the bicycle. He tries to get info where his girlfriend is. That's where he gets to the construction site. But Richard Norton's guys are there. They grab Jackie. And this is around the time that the reporter lady disappears. Which you did, I told you. In the original cut, you actually see what happens to her. And then, I will say, the finale... It's okay. But for me, the finale's not up there with Operation Condor, the Superman. I love that bit. Or Police Story in the Mall, which you could easily say that's probably the best ending. Like finale. The best finale to a Jackie Chan film is a whole mall sequence. Even Police Story 2 with the fireworks and firecrackers. Here is kind of just... Richard Norton's a great martial artist. We saw elements of the fight they would have before in City Hunter. We don't get a fight between them. Not really. Instead, they put ropes on Jackie so Jackie can't fight back, so Richard Norton's able to get these pot shots in. Then Jackie uses the rope and beats him a little bit, but then they knock him out. Then it's this big, giant vehicle. Jackie gets out of it. Now, it's a dangerous stunt. There's a bit where these giant wheels and he's putting his legs up, and if he falters, you don't be crushed. But, I mean, it's very dangerous, but for some reason that didn't give me the sense of, like it was supposed to. I don't know why. Maybe because just, I could never do that, granted. But the wheels are so big that it just, in a weird way, it kind of made it feel less dangerous. Like, I felt more danger with the saws. Not just coming out of his crotch, but there's a bit where a guy tries to cut him, and he dodges out of the way, and then he's on one of those things with these rollers, so he uses it to have him go backwards, slide backwards. I would say that Construction Site was a better action sequence than the finale. Now, the finale is not bad. I don't say it's bad. It's pretty much him taking that big vehicle, kind of what they did with Rumble of the Bronx, with the hovercraft. You take a big giant vehicle, you smash some stuff, and you go after the bad guy. It's kind of what they're doing here. And maybe it's just me, but sometimes I wondered if Sammo Hung wanted to do his version of Rumble in the Bronx, in which I don't know why. Like, there's a bit that I swear is a nod to it. If you remember Rumble in the Bronx, when someone asked, "Are you okay?" and the judge goes, "No." Someone asked Sammo Hung the same thing, "Are you okay?" And then Sammo goes, "No." I'm like, okay, is he doing a nod to Jackie and Rumble in the Bronx? And then is this ending kind of a nod where we're going to Jackie in a big giant vehicle, instead of the hovercraft is this big construction vehicle? Now, it's good practical stuff, destroying the whole, like a monster truck, destroying the cars, going to the building, destroying everything. That's cool. It looks cool. It's better than, shit Jackie Chan does nowadays. I'll give you that. But it's just Jackie kind of driving around. And I hate that type of slow-mo they do. Where it's like the shutter of a camera. I don't know how to put it. Where it doesn't feel like it's flowing in slow motion. It's a bit kind of stop and start slow motion. I don't know how to put it, but they incorporate that a couple times throughout this film. So I know I'm saying some negatives, but just more nitpicks. Like, I don't like the way they do the slow motion in this. I don't like that the reporter in the New Line Cinema cut disappeared. Even the original cut, I think she should have been replaced with the other chick. Like, Teep Jati's girlfriend, but the other chick. Like, she should have been... The reporter should have been carried through till the end of the movie. I think that would have made more sense. And I would have liked more of an actual fight between Jackie Chan and Richard Norton. Like, have Jackie destroy everything, and then Jackie have a fight with Richard Norton. And then they go back and forth. But I did. But the idea, Matt, is that Richard Norton's character isn't that great of a fighter. He's got to use these ropes in order to beat Jackie. Well, I mean, I get that, but you just say, well, it's him being a dick, him just being a villain. But then maybe Jackie could mock him, and then Richard Norton beats him up a little bit. Okay, this guy is for real, and they have like a good fight. Like, that would have been cool to see, and that I will have liked even more. But I will have smashed up the place. Nicely done. You know, I did because it's good practical explosions. If you like your demolition derby of destruction, it'll satisfy you. So overall, I mean, this was an easy watch to see again. It was fun. You know, Jackie Chan is still charming. He has funny moments and reactions. His girlfriend has some funny reactions where the one girl, oh, she's a little bit small for my clothes. But then the girlfriend misinterprets. She says I have small breasts. What? I don't know much of English, but I know the word small. No, that's not what she means. So there's funny bits like that. Like I said, I did like the reporter chick. I wish she was in it more. Again, Gabrielle Fitzpatrick. It's cool to see Richard Norton in there, but I wish he would got more of a fight, actual fight with Jackie. The set pieces were entertaining. The action, the stunt work were really solid. Very fast paced. The New Line Cinema one, even the original cut's only an hour and 36, hour and 37, give or take. Don't quote me on that. It's still a lot of fun. Like I said, it's a simple story. Story won't blow you away. The supporting acting on the gang members and his cop buddy, they're not the strongest actors. They don't give the most natural delivery of dialogue. Now, maybe it's because some of them are dubbed, but I don't know. Even the original version, I remember, you know, they weren't the best of actors. They're definitely more like low-budget actors, I would call it. But at the end of the day, what you want out of these Jackie Chan films is to see him be his charming self, utilize his humor. He's a likable character, likable persona, and you get a lot of action in a short amount of time, and some nice choreography, some good stunt work, good set pieces. Like I said, the construction bit's my favorite. In the New Line Cinema, the music is stop music that they used in other... It's been used in other Jackie Chan films that they brought to the U.S. Might have been music they used in Rumble in the Bronx, I think. Could be wrong on that. But it's still a fun movie. It's still an entertaining film. It is. I mean, I wouldn't put it in my top 5. Because I would go... Guys, I mean... Rumble in the Bronx... I always go back to say that's my favorite because it's my first introduction, so it's the most nostalgic. Operation Condor I really love. Sometimes I go back and forth that maybe that's my favorite. I do like Rush Hour 1 and 2 quite a bit. Police Story. Although I do wish Jackie Chan had dubbed his voice instead of just having this other guy. I wish I wish Jack T at one point had went back to redub his voice, to dub his voice into Police Story, not redub because he didn't dub one, instead of just having this other guy do the English. I don't know why that never happened. Why did no one go, hey Jackie, could you dub your voice for Police Story, which is one of your most famous ones? Why no one ever thought of doing that, I don't know. I don't know why they never thought to release Police Story in the US in the same way these other films were. But, you know, hey, don't ask me. With that said, though, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.